This story begins with a boy named Hayato who came to his late grandma's cafe. He went inside and was relaxing in the living area, and suddenly a girl named Uka came in a bikini and asked for laundry from her friend. When Hayato saw her, he tried to leave the room. He saw a girl named Ami who was taking off her clothes because she was all wet. He left her too, but he saw another girl, another one, and the fifth one, who were almost naked. He was so shocked about why these girls were in his house and in such a condition. Suddenly Ami ran and kicked him hard. All the girls tied him up and started deciding what to do with him. Hayato was scared and asking for untie. He was also asking for their relationship with his late grandma. Ono replied that we were family, but Hayato said we were a family of two only. And Akane said that grandma told us to think as her family. We have all been doing part-time jobs here since the last year and living here because of the free space in this house. Ami suddenly said so we have the right to live here, and Uka said now you may go back to Tokyo because you left your grandma for the last 3 years and we were the ones who paid for her funeral. Hayato said that I had a little fight with grandma before I went to Tokyo, so I wasn't informed on time about her death, and I'll pay off your funeral cost, but just untie me already. Now all the girls were sitting on the beachside and were talking about how to deal with him. Because they don't have enough money to shift and Hayato wants to build a parking lot at the cafe's place. They were shouting and people started staring at them. Suddenly Ami realized that she was the only one Hayato have seen naked. They were ashamed of their first impression, but Riho suddenly got an idea to tackle Hayato. While the other side Hayato was laying and thinking about his past fight with his grandma, suddenly Uka came in wearing a weird costume. Because Riho told her to do that, she asked him for dinner and calls him master. Hayato said if you are gonna make dinner then I'll pay you for this, made fried chicken for me. She burned the chicken because she doesn't know how to cook fried chicken, and Hayato teased her by doing some calculations. Uka told Riho, and Riho called Ami. Ami asked Hayato for an outing while wearing a weird costume. Hayato asked, "Are you gonna go out in such dressing?" and she felt ashamed. Now they all had dinner with a lot of gossip. Riho told Hayato that the bath is ready and he may help himself. While taking a bath, Hayato was thinking about his grandma and his argument on money. Suddenly he thinks that there should be a trap of girls, but there wasn't, and the door of the cafe was open. He went in and saw Akane who was about to smoke. Hayato tried to stop her, but she said if you want one you can, and the cafe is going to be destructed, so what's the reason not to smoke? Riho and Ono were drinking, but Riho has evil thoughts because Ono after drinking went to Hayato's room and started taking off her clothes. Hayato was scared. Riho was thinking to record this and wanted to blackmail him, but suddenly Ami came and rescued Ono with an angry face. The next morning Ono didn't remember anything about last night and Ami was sorry for her behavior. Suddenly the constructors came and started discussing their plans with Hayato. The girls were so angry. A man tried to pull the board of the cafe and Hayato remembered that with his grandma he placed it. He tried to throw it but Hayato stopped him and take it back. Akane asked Uka to make pilaf for him, and Hayato was remembering that his grandma was the one who take care of him after his parents died. Suddenly Uka came in and served him pilaf. He refused to eat, but she said it's the only dish I have learned from grandma. When he started eating he remembered his grandma who had bowed her head for this cafe. Hayato said I went to Tokyo to earn money for her grace and pride, but she died. Uka was hearing this and she thought he is not cold-blooded. He was washing the dishes and Uka came and said you don't have to bother yourself, I'll wash the dishes later. Hayato said I am used to it and asked about his grandma's death. She said we all had dinner together and she fell asleep, but when I tried to wake her up she has died. Hayato said I am glad she died, laughing, and he asked about the cafe's records. After reading them he said I'll take over this cafe and run it again. Uka was shocked that now he'll live with them. The girls have no other choice so they decide to live together. Now all the girls have introduced themselves to Hayato and said their specificity about doing work. Hayato shouted at them because they all have to do work equally, but they said grandma never let us work even once. Hayato said maybe because of you guys grandma died so early. Ono said I can easily do cleaning and cooking. But Hayato said no, work will be divided equally. They started doing work but they were all doing nonsense. Suddenly Hayato and Uka met a shameful incident. And Hayato also seen their private clothes. They were all angry with him and punished him to do all the cleaning by himself. He was so tired when he saw a coffee machine that his grandma loves to use for making coffee. Ono came and said be careful with this machine because grandma used to love this and said I came to call you for dinner. Uka had a problem eating dinner together, but they settled it and Ami showed them the beautiful cherry trees. Now they all have a quality dinner time together. While taking a bath, Hayato was relaxing and suddenly Uka came in naked. She shouted and Ami again punished him. Now Hayato told everyone before opening the cafe we should experiment on ourselves. So, I'll make you guys a coffee learned from grandma. They were excited. But when he made and served them with coffee they all coldly insulted him. He was made on them and suddenly Akane said cafe's owner can't make coffee, and he was so ashamed. After dinner girls were washing dishes and Hayato was practicing to make a good coffee like his grandma, but all in vain. He shouted and Akane said by shouting you can't learn to make good coffee. She gave him money for making coffee and said if you want I can make some for you too, but he denied it. But Akane made him coffee. When he sipped it he went to Akane and asked her to teach him how to make coffee, and he pleased her. Akane remembered how much grandma loves him, and she complimented his cute face. She agreed to teach him. He tried to tease her by complimenting, but she thanked him politely. While taking a bath Hayato was thinking about Akane and she was thinking about Hayato. Suddenly Ami came into the washroom naked, and Hayato said I am using the bath occupied sign why you entered, and she yelled at him. The next day Hayato and Riho were going and Riho said don't you ever think that it's a date, but Hayato said I can't ask other girls to come with me because they are incompatible. Because we are going to let the dealers know that we are starting again the cafe, I need a partner like you to accompany. They started meeting with the dealers and they were not so good with Hayato, but Riho managed to win their concessions. One after one they completed the task. Hayato thought that now they can go home, but Riho said the last place to visit is still there. She went for praying to God, and Hayato said why to do this. She replied without bowing our heads we can't win or be succeeded. Hayato remembered that his grandma also bowed for this cafe, so he realized his mistake and said I'll go back to all the dealers and will bow my head. While he was going, Riho called him and showed her panties as a reward for being understanding, and he fell down. The next day Oka was arguing with Hayato because he mixed his socks with her clothes, but he said if we wash clothes separately then the bills will touch the sky soon. After that Riho came to Hayato and told him that he has to be friendly with Uka, because if people came to know that the boss is not friendly with the employee then this will be a great disaster for his business. Hayato while staring at Uka thinks about this and came to the conclusion that if a female customer saw us fighting like this she will never come again. Hayato was thinking and suddenly Akane said you can simply compliment her and she will be okay. Hayato was arguing with her and Ami came and asked why her face is red and Akane left. Hayato tried to compliment Uka with the weird face, but she throws her slipper on his face, and they again argued with each other. Ono and Ami were whispering that when they'll become friends. Hayato was making coffee and thought about what happened at the dinner table. When he was going upstairs Riho asked him if he'll inform Uka that the bath is free to use. When he went to her room he saw her wearing the costume. She tried to yell at him but he tried to compliment her. He complimented her clothes and thought that he again insulted her, but she thanked him because she stitched the costumes for all the girls. She said grandma had told me that you may be a rough person but you don't lie, so I am very happy about your compliment. She also complimented his coffee. And suddenly Ono grabbed him back because she was drunk due to the wine and the food. And Ami started clicking pictures of them. The next day Ami started disturbing him. They sat and Hayato told them tomorrow is the opening day. He gave them their salaries for the last month and they all wished for the best. Hayato was sitting on the beachside and was thinking that how quickly they all have meshed together. Suddenly Ami came and said what makes you think that we meshed up so quickly? She said we were all known for so long. He realized that they all have said this before so many times, that grandma used to talk about him a lot with them. He was so happy to realize that Anami said you should have to thank me for this. He thanked and she was about to leave when she said that something precious to us breaks easily, and if something precious to you breaks one day, and it's my fault, then I am sorry. He didn't get her point, but when he saw his phone and laptop, he went crazy and Ami told him how this happened. He was so angry when Ono came and told him that the company and he invested had been ruined, and Hayato said if I don't take out my money now then my savings will be zero, and this happened. Ami apologized by offering to squeeze her chest, but he started pinching her. The next day was the opening day and Hayato told them to behave and ask their 100%. They also told him to hold his anger when something unusual happens, and 2 customers came and they served them and they liked the coffee. They started well and the day was really going very well, but suddenly the man came who always insulted grandma and they all were upset due to him. He ordered the expensive coffee Hayato was making when he called him and said, "You look like your grandma." Hayato tried to thank him for his help to his grandma, but the old man said, "You should bow for thanking like your grandma." Hayato with no heart does this, and the old man started insulting him by talking nonsense about grandma. He was very upset. They tried to attack the old man, but Hayato stopped them. The old man tried to disrespect Ono, but Hayato stopped him and asked to leave peacefully. Otherwise, they will call the police, and everyone was eyewitness there. He left quietly and Ono thanked him. What will happen next? To know about the latest updates, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.